Welcome, friends. We are going to work into the shoulder module today. So some things that you'll want to consider if you have any chronic shoulder issues, which as we all know is super common, do take the modification, support yourself as you move through this practice with anything that you intuitively know to be beneficial to your body. Also, we're going to be working into the surrounding muscles, including pectoral, deltoids, rhomboids, and even the latissimus dorsi to help support all of those actions in that true ball and socket, which is the shoulder. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the mat in cat-cow. Well, we'll start in tabletop. Right, so find that perfect tabletop alignment and do take time to fan the fingers, press down with the full palm of the hand on the earth. And then watch as the shoulder, elbow, and wrist create one straight long line. So that head of the humerus bone is plugged into socket. There's a subtle protraction here as you press down through the heel of the hand, zip up with the core to support the low back, and the knees rather are 2 fists width apart. I like feet flat on the mat. We're going to get into our breath too. Inhale as you curl the toes, lift the sits bones, let the belly sag, let the heart open. Now you're going to feel that slight retraction of the shoulder blades here. Let them draw down and back, let the shoulder blades draw closer together. And now feet return to flat. Draw tailbone towards the earth. Let the back arc and dome. Draw navel to spine. See that protraction happening here in the shoulder and upper back. Chin finds chest. Inhale, curl the toes. Lift the seat, soften the belly, lift the heart and gaze. Retract the shoulder blades. Feet are flat. Tailbone starts to draw towards the earth as navel comes in and up. Do round and dome. Let's get 2 more. Inhale, curl. Ride that wave of your breath. Exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale. Good. We're going to shift to thread the needle. I'm going to come forward. So you're still in your tabletop, but this time you'll walk one hand towards the midline. So I like to align the middle finger with the nose. The opposite hand finds the heart and then reaches for the sky. Exhale, thread that arm through. Do extend it as long as you possibly can before coming to rest on the side of the deltoid, that external delt, and side of the face. Now you may choose to land right here, pressing gently into that supportive hand as you fan open the shoulder blade. So you're getting a little pronation here, opening up through the rhomboids, or coming into a twist as you stack palm on top of palm, walk that leg out and maybe to the side. So this is all optional. Find a place you want to land. Lift the arm to the sky, plug the head of the humerus bone into socket, wrap it around to your comfort, and then I like to kind of thread it on the inside of my inner thigh, so this leg, and then roll that shoulder open. So I'm getting a deep stretch here through the entirety of the deltoid, and my gaze follows, and my breath flows. Deep opening here for the center of the deltoid, including the pectoral muscles, pectoralis major. Begin to unravel, reach that arm back to sky. Rest it directly below the face. Use that supporting hand to press and unravel. Thread the foot back under, the knee back under the thigh. And we'll take one breath in cat. Even exaggerating that cat pose while walking the hands in closer. And then come back to your neutral table. Opposite hand walks to the center of the mat while this hand finds the heart and reaches for the sky. Now you may have a different experience on this side, so give yourself permission to adjust. Thread that arm through. Simply as far as you can before coming to rest on that exterior delt and side of face. And then if you like, bring those mountain fingers to the mat and use that hand to help peel open this shoulder blade, the scapula, Or if you like, palms press, foot walks out into the side, and then lifting, plug that shoulder into socket. The head of the humerus bone drifts into the socket as you wrap around, maybe threading the hand, roll that shoulder into socket, opening that interior delt, pectoralis major, and a twist. And breathe. Unravel. Arm reaches back overhead, rests on the earth to help support you as you unravel, bringing the hands to rest. Knee comes back in line with the hip, and then a single round of cat pose. Before we come to shift onto the belly. So making your way down to your mat, however you like. Feet are flat or resting behind you. Walk the elbows under the shoulders. So again, you have this straight line of energy where the head of the humerus bone plugs into socket. Palms are pressing in front of you. I'll shift back so you can see. And there's a little bit of extension here in the spine, right? So my belly is kind of resting on the mat. There's some extension here in the lumbar spine, and that's fine. Shifting the gaze forward. So I have a nice long line from the crown of my head all the way down the back of my neck. And now I'm going to start to engage my finger pads to the mat as I float my chest through my biceps. So I'm getting a nice stretch here in rectus abdominis, but I'm also opening here pectoralis major. And so shoulders roll back and really reach the heart through. This is just a Sphinx pose modification. Legs are loose and just hanging out back there. Not much going on in the low body. It's really concentrating your efforts on the upper body. And then go ahead and soften that. Make a pillow for head, chin, or cheek. And just wag the knees side to side, taking out any back bend. Good. Slide the hands under the shoulders, right underneath the mid delt. Guide the body up. Take those hips back. Child's pose we arrive. We have some nice abduction here for the shoulders. Arms are moving in a superior fashion over the head. Hips are sinking back towards the heels. Give yourself permission to shift those knees open to a wide leg child's pose variation if that's what's calling to you today. And now from here, we're going to guide the body up, coming to a kind of an abducted, really, child's tabletop rather. So the hands are moving extended away from the body. Curl the toes behind you. Sink the hips towards the heels. Lift the hips up and back and find your downward facing dog. So you'll feel here the shoulders are retracting down the back body. So gliding those shoulder blades down the back body. Rotate the inner elbow so it faces the front of the mat. And if heels are elevated, that is okay. Notice what feels possible for your body today. Give yourself permission to soften those knees if you need support for the hamstrings. Very common, very modifiable stance in your down dog. Just soften the knees, keep those heels elevated. Or if it's your practice to do so, find the heels in line with the earth. From here, we're going to roll off of the balls of the feet, kind of ride the wave of your breath as you arrive in a high plank pose. So you can come here in your plank pose, kind of this isometric hold, really plugging the head of that humerus bone into socket. And notice that there's neither protraction or retraction, but everything is pretty straight and locked in that shoulder girdle. If this does not work for you, lower the knees, but come to this kind of angle in your tabletop. So it's not a true tabletop in that the knees are under the hips. It's angling forward, and that's going to ask the belly to work a little harder. And you can hold this isometric contraction in this way. Excuse me. Or elevate those legs. and breathe. And if you're shaking, that's good. Shaking means transformation. Shaking means your muscles are overloading and things are happening and changing, if that's your desired outcome. We're going to shift to push-up. And we know that push-up is a great strengthener for the deltoids, right? And the pectoralis major. So if it works for you to stay in this modified plank position while you move to your push-up, that's great. Otherwise, you can try on a plank pose, high plank push-up. So we're gonna bend those elbows and press away. I like a tricep push-up, so my inner elbows stay facing towards the top of the mat. If it's more your practice to angle the fingers towards one another and work more into the pectoralis, feel welcome to do that as well. Let's do 5. So here's, feel those pecs, fingers facing the front of the mat. You're working more into the tricep. Either way, shoulders are getting some fire. 3, 4, good, and 5. And I'm gonna have you just sit back on the heels in child's pose. Good. Find your breath. Feel that fire in the upper body. You can also do push-ups at the wall if it doesn't work for you. If you have any joint concerns with wrist or elbow, you can come to just press the wall space away, and that's a great modification as well, and it works. Works into the chest, works into the shoulders, upper back, all that action. Okay, we are going to shift to a side plank variation. And now, again, you may wish to modify, and I'll show you those modifications. So we're going to start in plank pose, high plank, and then shift the heels back slightly. So see what happens to my shoulders. So I'm here locked in completely. Now I'm shifting back, so there's a little bit of an extension here, and I'll show you why. Because as I roll on to my side, I want the head of the humerus bone to fall into socket. So I have to shift a little bit to account for the fact that my body is changing direction. So I have top leg stacked in front of the bottom. You can bend that bottom knee as a beautiful modification for plank, supporting that shoulder girdle all the while. If wrists are a concern, forearm side plank is also great. Roll those hips on top of each other, stack the hips, or thread, or final option, stack the foot. Yeah, so if you want this full plank variation, full side plank, extended, you can come here. Then we're going to shift that hand behind the head, which you cannot see, so I will come down. So again, you can do this with knee down. And we're open here. And now we're going to really work that pronation as you bring elbow to wrist and retract, open the chest, bring the elbow open. Let's just do 4. Exhale. Inhale, good. Exhale, belly's firing. 2, 3, and 4. And hold if you like. And bring it down. We're going to switch sides. So start in that plank pose or modified plank with knee down, as you like. Okay. So finding what's going to work. And then if you're in that full high plank, shift the hips back slightly. So just kind of shifting back on the balls of the feet before you stack the feet. Bring the knee down, bring the elbow down, or thread the back foot behind the top. Find that side plank variation. Hold that isometric action here. Oblique is really zipping up. Arm is open, hand behind the head, and you're gonna bring elbow to elbow or elbow to wrist. Let's do 3. 2. Keep that breath flowing. Last one. And reach. Good. And bring it all the way down on the knees. Child's pose. I know that's a lot. You really feel that rotation. You really feel that fire in the deltoid. Let's go ahead and sweep those arms behind. Interlace the fingers. Bring the forehead to the earth or a pillow. And just get a little tug here with the knuckles reaching back. And open up that chest and shoulder. Good. Okay, moving on. We're gonna shift onto the knees. Let me just make some adjustments here. Good. Maybe this will just work. Okay. So camel pose, and we've done this before. We're gonna just stretch open the chest and shoulders. So we're on the knees, and you can curl the toes, bring the heels up a little bit if you wanna come to that fuller back bend variation. But that's not really the energy of the pose for this purpose. We're really just aiming to open up the chest and shoulder. So heel of the hand rests right at that iliac crest, that bony ledge, where the sacrum meets the glute. Hug the elbows in. Gazing in front, head and neck is light, nice and long. And this may be where you land. This is a nice stretch open for chest and shoulder as you draw those elbows together. If you want a little more, you can come back to that mini back bend, but really think the energy of the posture for this purpose is to keep lengthening open pectoralis and deltoid. Retract those shoulder blades on the back body. And then if it's really calling to you, feel welcome to lower down and find those heels. So you have this really rich opening of chest and shoulders here. Definitely getting some back bend as well. But just know that you don't have to if it doesn't feel good. All right. I like chin to chest to keep my neck long. I don't like to dump a lot of weight into the base of my skull, into those delicate cervical vertebrae. But notice what feels inviting. And I'll do, if you've come to this fuller back bend, engage the core and protect the back as you come out. Sit back on the heels if it's comfortable to do so. Otherwise, go ahead and sit in a cross-legged position or legs extended. Support the knees. Walk one hand out, other hand comes up, and fold. So we're really opening up the latissimus dorsi, which we know also support the shoulder. Engage the core, come back through center, rest the opposite arm and reach long. Feels good after that side plank as well. We did a lot of work for obliques in that motion. And shifting onto one side, we're gonna kind of just wag the knees, windshield wiper. We had a little bit of blood stop there as we sat back on the heels. Just get that blood flowing. And come back to just an easy seat, whatever that looks like or feels like in your body. And we're gonna do that side bend again. So walk the hand out, reach, and fold. Adding on a little bit here. So go ahead and shift the gaze down to see that hand resting beside you. Cross, sweep, cross, and I have a little like X marks the spot which with your elbows. Get a little round here, so pronate the shoulders, round the upper back. Lift the gaze, hinge the elbows, and let the hands rest. So this may be just enough as we prepare for eagle arm variation, or you could take this bottom hand, wrap it all the way through, and press palm to palm. Lift the elbows slightly, draw them ever so slightly forward. So we want you to feel that pronation in the shoulder, that really rich opening for the rhomboids of the upper back. And now option again, chin to chest as you lengthen into the cervical spine. Let's take 3 breaths here. Unravel. Rest this opposite hand. Now reach and fold. Gaze down. Cross the elevated hand. Opposite comes up and over. Again, little X marks the spot with the elbows. Round. And now lift. Bend those elbows in half. Let the backs of the palms brush. It's a great place to land. Or thread the hand through, press palm to palm. Lift the elbows. Draw them forward, really rich pronation here in the shoulders. Opening up the rhomboids, opening up the lats, and then option here, chin to chest. Lift the gaze, unravel the arms, float them into a T, and then soften the shoulders into socket. So you have this really nice abduction here, reaching away distal from the body. Hug the tummy tight so you're stabilizing the core. We're going to do 10 big circles back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 big circles forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Little circles back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo, getting some fire there. Nicely done. Lastly, go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together about an arm's length away from your sits bones. Hands rest on the shins. Inhale as you roll the shoulders back. Lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, feet are standing around your dome. Let's do that 2 more times and you're done. Inhale, lift. And exhale, round. Inhale, extending the spine. And exhale, flexing. Nicely done. Thank you all for your practice today. Any questions, comments, concerns, you know where to find me. Hoping you're well and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.